Buckle up, because today we have 5 stories that are going to make your blood absolutely boil. First up, a guy convinces his anti-woke cousin that the beans in his famous chili are secretly woke, and it spirals completely out of control. Then, a woman lends out her dream venue for her best friend's wedding, right up until that friend shows up demanding a paternity test. We got a man whose girlfriend calls his tradition for his late brother stupid, a husband dealing with the messy fallout after his wife's plastic surgery, and finally, a guy who got a coworker arrested over an office chair. Yeah, you heard me. Let's get into it. First up, a guy decides to mess with his conspiracy-obsessed cousin by convincing him that the beans in his beloved chili are secretly woke. My cousin is known for making chili, and he's good at it. He makes his own chili flakes from his secret combination of various dried chilies. It has a very nice kick. It's like the perfect amount of spice. It's hot, but not too hot. He also always adds kidney beans. Not beans either. Anyways, for the past 2 or 3 years, my cousin has become obsessed with all this bullcrap about what is or isn't woke and how woke things are the end of the world. He's always been a good dude, so I don't know what his bag is, but he is completely obsessed. It's annoying. So the other weekend, I was at his place, and he was making his famous chili. So I got the idea for a little prank. I was like, I'm surprised you still put beans in your chili. He was like, what? What? I was like, beans and chili are so woke. Everyone is saying so. He was like, what do you mean? And he was like genuinely concerned, as if this was something serious. I said something like, yeah, beans and chili are woke. The original conservative Texans who made chili only used meat and chili. San Francisco liberals started adding beans to chili in the 60s because so many hippies were vegetarian. Now all the woke scientists are saying beans are a better protein source than meat. He didn't say anything to that. I kind of just assumed he'd know I was freaking with him and get the joke. We have always freaked around with each other and jokes about and all. But he was quiet all dinner. Just yesterday, I was back again at his place, and he was making his chili again. There were no beans. It was a totally different chili. This guy has been making his chili with beans for like 15 years. I was like, what's up? Where's the beans? He was like, I don't freak with that woke crap. I was like, what? He was like, beans and chili are woke. Even you know that. Everyone else was like, what? Because what? I was like, dude, I was just freaking with you. He got really angry. He dumped his chili in the sink and told everyone to go home. I thought he was pranking me back or something, but he was serious. The dude totally lost it. He texted me later and said this exact thing. I researched this online, and it turns out you really were lying to me. Beans are not woke. How did you do this? We went back and forth for a bit. His position is, even though we have historically pranked each other, I went too far, that I betrayed him, that I made him question his chili. I tried to ask him if this at all made him think he cared too much about woke. Like, what if beans and chili was woke, so what? He ignored that and demanded I apologize. Did I take this too far? Let's see what the comments have to say. This person commented, that's freaking hilarious. He's so damned fixated on what other people say is woke or not woke that he'll sabotage his own cooking. He handed you that material to prank him with on a silver platter, and he needs to get over it. Another commenter said, next, say reacting badly to a joke is woke. Demanding an apology is woke. If he reacts, say reacting is woke. The comments are absolutely loving this one. Pretty much everyone says the cousin handed him this prank on a silver platter and just needs to lighten up. But what do you think? So what do you guys think? Was this person the asshole? Drop your verdict in the comments below. Next up, a woman offers her gorgeous property for free for her best friend's wedding, until that friend shows up at her door with a jaw-dropping accusation. My friend Sandra and I have known each other for over 20 years. We are 30 to 32. Sandra is getting married to Andres, and I am married to Ian. Some relevant information. Andres and I originally come from the same country and even the same region. We share many characteristics. We both have very round faces, deep brown eyes, long straight black hair, etc. If you didn't know better, you might assume we are siblings. I met Andres 6 years ago and introduced him to Sandra. He proposed 2 years ago. I own a beautiful property in my home country that I was ready to lend to Sandra and Andres for their wedding. My property is like a finca and has 10 rooms. Usually, I would rent it out for weddings at a somewhat high price, but I was happy to give it to them at no cost, with the condition that they hire their own catering and have their guests strip their beds when they leave. The issue. 3 months ago, Sandra became more reclusive. She wouldn't answer my texts, and we didn't meet up. 2 weeks ago, she appeared at my door with Andres. They sat us down, my husband included, and said she suspected that my daughter is actually Andres' biological daughter and requested a paternity test for peace of mind. I was so shocked that I couldn't say anything. My husband lost his temper and raised his voice, telling Sandra that she was being absolutely stupid. Sandra pointed out that my daughter looks like Andres. I explained that Andres and I look alike. She kept shaking her head, saying my daughter would look more like my husband and not like my exact copy. The evening ended poorly. I agreed to the test if they paid for it. The results came back last Friday, showing that Andres was not the father. We also did a test confirming that my husband is the father. Sandra cried and tried to hug me. I told her I didn't want to and that I didn't want to be friends with her for the time being. She kept saying her worries were justified and made a comment about women from your country being more likely to do that. In that moment, I was filled with anger. I told her she could forget about using the venue and that I didn't want her in my life anymore. She started crying, but I made her leave. Her mom and she had been texting me, saying they can't find a new venue. I still said no. 20 minutes ago, Sandra called me sobbing, saying that the wedding is off because of me. Am I the asshole? Should I have let her use the venue at the usual price? Or was what I did okay? Edit. Andres was not chill about this. He seemed exasperated. He was quite upset and basically just agreed to this so she would drop it. I didn't include it because I did not see the relevance for the conflict between me and her. Update. They're no longer together. Sandra just wrote me an email apologizing and for some reason PayPal'd me €25.67. Anyway, thank you for weighing in. Let's see what the comments have to say. This person commented, "The wedding is off because she was an insecure, jealous friend who accused you of cheating on your husband with her fiancé because she was delusional AF. She then had the audacity to try to hug you." Another commenter said, "She also had the audacity to bring her mother in as a flying monkey." The comments are firmly in her corner on this one, calling the friend insecure, delusional, and totally out of line for that racist remark on top of everything. But tell me if you'd have handled it differently. What would you have done in this situation? Let me know in the comments. This next one hits hard. A man honors his late brother with a quiet yearly tradition, and his girlfriend has the nerve to call it stupid. Throwaway account. I am 30, lost my younger brother when I was 22. He had cancer and fought very hard. Ever since, I've been donating blood on the anniversary of his death every year. I take the day off from work, visit his grave, donate blood, and then come home, relax, and watch his favorite movie. I know it's a simple, personal tradition, but it means a lot to me. My girlfriend of 9 months, Anna F., 31, asked if I could meet her and her mom. I have met her many times before, and it wasn't to meet the parents for the first time situation, for lunch yesterday. I told her no and explained again about what I do on my brother's death anniversary. She got upset and said, "Well, it's my tradition to have lunch with my mom every time she's in town, and she really wanted to see you. You could do your stupid blood donation tradition any day." I explained to her that it's not just about the blood donation. Later in the evening, while I was resting and watching my brother's favorite movie, she texted me again, asking me to join them. I reiterated that I really didn't want to and would hang out with her mom next time. She replied that I had embarrassed her in front of her mom with my selfishness and laziness. Since then, she's been distant. Do I owe her an apology? Am I the asshole? Update. I texted her that we needed to talk. She never replied. Just blocked me from everywhere, social media, WhatsApp. Her best friend who was following me on Instagram blocked me too. I'm not sad. I wanted to end it anyways. Thank you for your support, everyone. I really appreciate your kind comments. Some users suggested that my brother/remembrance tradition saved me from getting serious with her and lifetime of misery, and it made me smile. Thank you again. Let's see what the comments have to say. This person commented, "Stupid blood donation tradition." After that comment, I hope she's soon your ex-GF. That is unbelievably upsetting. You haven't asked her to join you, just to leave you in peace to honor your brother. NTA, and I'm sorry for your loss. Another commenter said, "I'm shocked she didn't offer to go with him. That would have been my first instinct. Then I would have asked why he loved that film." The comments did not hold back. They're all telling him he dodged a massive bullet and that she showed who she really was. But what's your verdict? If you're enjoying these stories so far, remember to leave a like and subscribe for more. In this update, a husband finally sits down with his wife after her plastic surgery, and they uncover who really pushed her into going under the knife. Original post, https://www.reddit.com/am I the asshole /comments /1 backshuez /ITAH truthful permitting underscore fine / My wife came home yesterday, and we finally had a long talk. She told me that the reason she had the surgery was because her mom and sister talked her into it. They convinced her that she was starting to look old and that I would find someone else to be with if she did not do something. That was why her mom gave her the money for the operations. Her mom and sister look like Bruce Campbell in Escape from L.A. They're the very last people on the planet that should be telling anyone to get plastic surgery. I used some of the comments I read on my post as talking points. I told her that I loved her and that she was the person that I wanted to spend my life with. I told her that the surgery would take a while longer to settle down and that as I got more used to her new face, I would learn to appreciate it. She asked me if I wanted her to see if she could get it reversed. I almost screamed at her. The last thing in the world I want is for her to freak up her face more than it already is. I asked her if she could please just leave it and let me get used to it. We talked for about 3 hours, and we decided that her mom and sister would not be a part of any decisions in our life going forward. She's going to leave her face alone and give me a chance to get used to it. We're going to look for a marriage counselor and maybe individual counselors for each of us. I'm going to make an effort to show her every day how I still find her desirable, and she's going to make an effort to believe me when I tell her I love her the way she is. We're going to talk to her mom and sister and tell them that we are taking a break from them. We're going to block them and get our crap together before we allow them back into our lives. Thank you to everyone who tried to help me. I would like to add that I did not think there were that many guys out there with a weird blue squid lady fetish. It isn't for me, but you do you. Let's see what the comments have to say. This person commented, "You and your wife need to keep in mind that her mother and sister purposefully sabotage her face. It may be subconscious or conscious, but it is very odd to read how this came about. I advise you to research cluster B personality types." Another commenter said, "I hope therapy and counseling help you both. Please tell your wife that you love her for her heart and soul. Validate her inner beauty. Compliment her daily by pointing out her kindness and her lovely smile." Honestly, the comments were split between cracking up at his wild movie references and genuinely rooting for these two to make it work. So what do you land on this one? So what do you guys think? Was this person the asshole? Drop your verdict in the comments below. And finally, a brand new employee brings his own $1,800 chair to work, and when a coworker swipes it, things escalate to a level nobody saw coming. I got a new job in sales working for a company that sells access control systems, CCTV systems, etc. The chair in my cubicle was uncomfortable AF, so day 3, I brought in my own Herman Miller Aeron chair. On day 4 was missing. I looked around, and another sales rep was sitting in it. I asked for it back, but he basically told me to F off. I went and spoke to the owner of the company. He told me that the chairs aren't reserved. They are first come, first serve. I explained that I own the chair, and it cost me $1,800. He told me that I need to come in earlier if I want that chair. The next day, the same guy was sitting in it when I got to the office. I told him to give it back, or I was going to call the cops. He refused, so I called the cops. It was quite the scene, but in the end, he admitted that he took my $1,800 chair. I was prepared. I had the receipt which showed the serial number. Yes, Aeron chairs have serial numbers. They asked me if I wanted to press charges. My new boss said I would be terminated if I had him arrested. So I said, absolutely. I want to press charges. My new boss fired me on the spot. So I carried my chair out with me, and I was leaving. And yes, the cops arrested the dude who took my chair. He admitted to it. The dude who took my chair has been in the industry for about 15 years, but he's going to lose his security license, which means he won't be able to work in the industry. He's going to lose his job. I don't give a crap. He shouldn't have stolen my chair. Am I the asshole for making this dude lose his job? Let's see what the comments have to say. This person commented, "Sometimes being an AH is the correct response. Also, your boss is now out 2 workers." Another commenter said, "What kind of jerk-ass motherfuckers?" Okay, totally unreasonable. It was his personal chair. I mean, what if it was a personal laptop or a car or a cheese Danish? Who sides with the freaking thief? NTA, glad you pressed charges. Freak these hateful macho dickheads. The comments mostly say sometimes being the asshole is the right call. A stolen $1,800 chair has consequences. But do you think he took it too far? Drop your verdict. What would you have done in this situation? Let me know in the comments. And that's a wrap on today's stories. Which one had you yelling at your screen the loudest? Was it the chili crusade, the paternity test disaster, or the chair that got somebody arrested? Drop your verdicts down in the comments. I read every single one of them. I've got a fresh batch of even crazier stories coming your way real soon. So I'll catch you in the next one.